Hello, this is Chuck Stull looking at product differentiation in the automobile industry. Unlike the oil industry and the agriculture industries, automobiles certainly are not a commodity. Product differentiation is a really important characteristic of this industry. We currently have something like 260 different makes of cars, light trucks, and SUVs divided into roughly 16 overlapping vehicle classes available here on the US market. Uh, if we went back to the days of the Model T, Ford emphasized a single model and mainly in a single color. Most of them were black for years and years. Now, a lot of that change came not from Ford, but from General Motors. General Motors introduced, starting in the 1920s, model years. So these are, of course, by now very familiar, but annual cosmetic restylings with periodic major engineering overhauls um, that seem to be designed to stimulate demand for replacement, to have the newest, most in fashion car available. GM also introduced the idea of market segments and had a famous quote that they were going to produce a car for every purse and purpose. This could be called vertical product differentiation. Product differentiation based on price differences or quality. So, for example, we could look at um, cars that were essentially the same, a large four-door family sedan, about the same size, designed for the same purpose, but some would be more expensive and some would be cheaper. So the more expensive ones might have nicer materials, a more powerful engine, more decoration, and be a higher status automobile. So if we look at General Motors, the market segments, right, were designed to compete with Ford, which at one time had just a um, single model, but with the different nameplates. So Chevrolet was the least expensive, directly competing with Ford, and then Pontiac, Oldsmobile, Buick, and Cadillac, and then later some other models as well, were what happened as we moved up the line of vertical differentiation, with the most expensive ones being at the bottom. The vertical differentiation is fairly straightforward. More expensive was related to higher quality, cheaper was related to budget or economy cars. Now, there's another kind of differentiation that is important in automobiles and in other consumer goods, and that's known as horizontal differentiation. Horizontal differentiation, we're looking at cars that are designed for different purposes. So we could have cars with different characteristics. So a sports car versus a minivan versus a 4x4 pickup truck are horizontally differentiated. We could have cars that are similarly priced but have a very different niche in the market, a different number of passengers for different uses and for different conditions. If we look at an advertisement from Ford in 1958, we can see by this time they had fully embraced both vertical and horizontal differentiation. So Ford had several divisions. So again, starting from the cheapest with Ford, and then Edsel, Mercury, Lincoln, and Continental. So those would be the vertical differentiations from cheapest to most expensive. And then they had the horizontal differentiation, so the four-door sedans, the coupes, convertibles, and station wagons. So for a long time, there was really um, a lot of concern by automobile analysts, right, that were we looking at features that were really important to customers, or was it just fashion? Um, because for a long time it seemed that we had a lot of styling changes, but very limited competition in terms of new important features. But that has certainly changed a lot in recent decades, and we'll explore some of the reasons why that may be. Thanks for listening. This has been Chuck Stahl from Kalamazoo College.